Move on now to the cost of living crisis and the huge bills that people are facing. You're calling now for there to be a cap on the prices and for the price cap not to rise as it will do on the 26th of August. Why are you calling for that right now?
I'm very worried about what millions of families and pensioners are going to face this winter. And I've been listening to the Conservative candidates for the next Prime Minister for a plan to tackle this, to help people, but they've got no plan whatsoever. It's almost like they're living in a parallel universe. So Liberal Democrats today are putting forward our plan. And what we're saying is the expected rise of £1,400 in the energy price cap, on top of the £700 rise last April. We're saying that new rise should not happen. It should be cancelled, and it should be the government that pays the suppliers to make sure that people get the electricity and gas that they need. And if we don't do this, we're facing a social crisis, a catastrophe. I think from the evidence we've seen in the Liberal Democrats, we could be seeing people going hungry, not eating as much, turning off their heating and not heating their home. So if we're going to avoid a cold, hungry winter for millions of people, we have to have the bold plan that Liberal Democrats are arguing for.
Yeah, we know the dangers that people are facing, but I wonder, how is this going to be paid for? Because this is not going to be cheap for the government to essentially step in and control prices.
Yeah, there needs to be a big measure from the government. We're saying there should be a one-off tax on the oil and gas companies who are making tens of billions of pounds in profit they didn't expect to make, because no one expected oil and gas prices to be as high as they are. And I think it's only fair that we ask those oil and gas companies to pay some of their profit to the government, so the government could then help millions of families and pensioners. That's a fair approach. It would also, by the way, prevent this catastrophe which is our country is heading towards.
You call it one-off tax, so is this the same as the windfall tax that the Chancellor...
Yeah, it's a windfall tax, but the Chancellor's approach was very weak. It didn't raise anywhere near enough money. It didn't ensure that some of the profits they've made over this period face this tax. And they had lots of loopholes they were given. We need a proper tax on the profits of the oil and gas companies. We've got a well-thought-through proposal, and it would pay the large bulk of this idea of stopping the energy price cap rising in October. We've got to help people. I think there's huge anxiety out there. People are already cutting back because of the high price of energy now. And with energy prices as high as they are now, the idea that they could go up by another £1,400 is frightening to many people. So we need a plan. Liberal Democrats are putting one forward. So
this is a new windfall tax. So you completely redo the windfall tax that's already put in place. And
yeah, because
you describe them as loopholes, but the Chancellor said that they are incentives to encourage these companies to continue investing in the energy supply of this country.
Well, before he put forward his plan, when Liberal Democrats were arguing for this one-off tax on oil and gas company profits, the Chief Executive BP said with such a windfall tax, they still continue to invest. Let's remember, the whole point about this one-off tax are these are profits that they didn't expect to make. They weren't in their business plan. So they'll go ahead with their investments regardless of this tax.
And as you know, there is a growing movement, Don't Pay UK, for people not to pay the energy bills that are coming on the 1st of October. Do you support that idea?
No, I don't. But I want the government to take the bold measures that Liberal Democrats are now arguing for. If the government took up the Liberal Democrat call for cancelling the rise in the energy price cap, then there'd be no need for that sort of campaign, and we could deliver the help that millions of people desperately need. We've seen from the evidence from the polls, many people are already saying they're not going to eat as much. Many people are saying they're not going to turn on the heating at all. That is a frightening prospect. I think we're going to see a social crisis like we've never seen. So we need a plan. And what has been quite outrageous, frankly, is whether it's from the current Prime Minister or the two Conservative candidates to be the next Prime Minister. We've had no plan whatsoever. The energy price rise has been like the elephant in the room. They've not been addressing it in any coherent way. And we can't have a Prime Minister living in a parallel universe. We need people facing up to the reality that millions of our citizens face. That's why we need the plan that Liberal Democrats are proposing today.
So do you support the idea of the two candidates and the Prime Minister sitting down before we get the price rise on the 26th of August to have a plan in place?
Yeah, I believe we should have a recall of Parliament. I think it should be an emergency budget. And what I'm saying beyond that, and no one else has said this, this is the plan for the budget. So we're saying that emergency budget, which should come as soon as possible, should have as the core of its plan cancelling the rise in the energy prices this October.
OK, Sir Davey, Leader of the Liberal Democrats, I appreciate your time.